Welcome, and thank you for standing by. All participants are in a listen-only mode until the question and answer session of today's call. At that time, you'll be able to press star 1 to ask a question, unmute, and record your name at the prompt. Again, that will be star 1. Today's call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. And it's my pleasure to turn the call over to Tanya McInnes. You may now begin, ma'am. Thank you.
Great, thank you, and hello and welcome to everyone on today's call. I hope you're having a good day so far. So again, my name is Tanya McInnes. I am the program manager of the CDFI Funds Depository Institutions Initiative team, and our team administers the Small Dollar Loan Program. Welcome to today's Small Dollar Loan Program Award recipients webinar for the fiscal year 2022 Small Dollar Loan Program. Also, congratulations on receiving your Small Dollar Loan Program or being selected for a Small Dollar Loan Program Award. It is the second year of this program, and we're very excited about it. Also, thank you for the great work that you do in your communities to help the unbanked and underbanked get the support they need to thrive. Next slide, please. So today's webinar is intended to give you a high-level overview of the assistance agreement and provide a few key points of clarification in advance of receiving your assistance agreement, and then you going through and thoroughly reviewing your assistance agreement. We will not be reviewing the majority of the details of the document. However, today we will be reviewing key sections of the agreement, including the performance goals and measures and the authorized technical assistance activities. We also want to highlight a few key considerations related to prohibited practices, eligible uses of your award, and what to expect after this webinar. I am joined today by Julie Sandler, who is the Associate Program Manager for the Small Dollar Loan Program, as well as Michael Fulton and Amy Apitz, who are Management and Program Analysts for the Small Dollar Loan Program. And we also have Bridget Ware, Associate Program Manager for our Office of Compliance, Monitoring, and Evaluation, as well as Mia Lane, who is the Portfolio Manager, also with the Office of Compliance, Monitoring, and Evaluation. So on this slide is a little information about the assistance agreement. We expect to have your individualized assistance agreement generated and in your account very soon. You'll get a notice when it is ready for your review and for your approval. But we do have the assistance agreement template posted to the CDFI Fund website, so you can get a general idea of what's going to be in your agreement. For those who have existing CDFI Fund awards, know that the assistance agreement is a binding legal document signed by the authorized users of the award recipients as well as the CDFI Fund. And by signing the assistance agreement, you are agreeing to the terms and conditions outlined in the agreement as well as in the NOFA, the Notice of Funds Availability. Today, again, we want to highlight the performance goals and measures you will be required to meet as part of receiving your award. Additionally, please be aware that not everything that you propose in your application is a permissible use of the award. If you have any specific questions, please ask either today at the end of this presentation or submit your question through an AMIS service request. Next slide, please. You can go to the next slide, please. Oh, there. Thank you. On this slide, it just provides an outline of the assistance agreement. Again, if you are a previous CDFI fund award recipient, then you're familiar with this outline. And also, you know that your assistance agreement will be customized with a breakdown of your reporting requirements, your reporting deadlines, your customized performance goals, based on your application and award amount, as well as our final due diligence review. And also your agreement includes the general terms and conditions. And again, once you do receive that, please review each section in detail. Next slide, please. The next few slides outline the key reports you are required to submit as a recipient. Most of these reports are submitted through AMIS, and the type of financial report that you are required to submit is dependent upon your organization type. In general, each organization will be required to submit a financial statement report, a performance progress report, and a uses of award report. Next slide, please. Can you go back one slide, please? Here we go, thank you. So the performance progress report, also known as the PPR, is where your specific performance goals and measures will be listed, and is where you will report on how you have your progress towards achieving the performance goals and measures. And specifically for this program, you'll be providing information on the closed small dollar loans over the 3-year period of performance. The uses of award report will demonstrate the spending on the eligible uses of if you're receiving a loan loss reserve award or a TA award or a combination of the two. Let me pause here now to see if Bridget and Mia from our compliance team would like to add anything or highlight anything related to the reporting requirements. Bridget and Mia?
Thanks, Tanya. This is Mia. I do want to remind everyone to please remember to add AMIS as a safe sender so that your organization receives the automatic reporting reminders. And I also want to encourage everyone to make sure that your authorized representatives are up to date in AMIS, as any automatic responses or correspondence from your portfolio managers will only be sent to your authorized representative.
Great, thank you.
Right now.
Excellent, thank you. Appreciate it. That's very important information. Thank you. And for those who are receiving an award for the first time, again, if you have any specific questions that you do not raise at this time during this webinar, you can always reach out to us separately. Also, this recording or this webinar is being recorded as the operator stated, so you can always reference this recording at a later date as well. Okay. Thanks again, Mia, for those comments. Next slide, please. The financial statement audit report. Well, first of all, this slide is just a summary of the reports and when the reports are due. So for the financial statement audit report, these reports are submitted 6 months after after the end of each year of the period of performance. The PPR and the uses of award report will be submitted 3 months after your fiscal year end. And for nonprofit award recipients with a single report audit requirement, will submit that report 9 months after your fiscal year end. For this particular report, again, the single audit report, we do encourage you to submit it via AMIS, although it is not a requirement. All the other reports are required to be submitted through AMIS. The single audit report we encourage you to submit it through AMIS, but you do not have to submit that report to AMIS, through AMIS. And so just to provide you an example of how this all works. So let's say you have a fiscal year end of 12/31. Your initial performance progress report period starts September 27, 2022. That's when we announce the awards. And so your first year would run from September 27, 2022 to 12/31/2023, and then the PPR would be due 3/31/2024. And your first financial report will be due 6/30/2024. So again, if you have a 12/31 fiscal year end, your first year period of performance will be 9/27/2022 through 12/31/2023, with your first with the PPR and the uses of award report due 3/31/2024, and then your first financial report will be due 6/30/2024. And then just another reminder that your specific reporting dates will be outlined in your assistance agreement.
Tanya, this is me. If I could just jump in real quick
Sure, yes.
to go back to the single audit reporting. So that single audit reporting would not apply to everyone. It only applies to any recipient who expends over $750,000 in federal award dollars during that period of performance. So it would not necessarily apply to everyone. So just keep that in mind when you're submitting your financial statement audit report. You will indicate if you are submitting a single audit, make sure that you've met that threshold. If you have not met that threshold, the single audit report is not a requirement for you.
Great. Thanks, Mia. And again, for those recipients that are receiving CDFI fund awards for the first time, and this you may not be very familiar with this, reporting requirements, due dates, et cetera, please reach out to us. We're here to support you and make sure that you have everything you need to expend your award. All right, moving on to the next slide, I am going to hand it off to Julie, who is going to walk everyone through the performance goals and measures. Julie?
Thanks, Tanya. You can move it on to the next slide. So I'm going to discuss performance goals and measures, I'll refer to them as PG&Ms, that a recipient must meet in order to remain in compliance with the assistance agreement. Compliance is also dependent on timely submission of reports and absence of material opinions in your audit and other conditions as outlined in the agreement. Failure to remain in compliance may impact disbursement of subsequent payments and eligibility for other CDFI fund awards. Next slide. Your PG&Ms, what they are when you get your assistance agreement, they'll be adjusted and based on a couple of different things. First, is it the award type? If you apply for an LLR only reward or a combination award, whether you are launching a new small dollar loan program or expanding an existing one, and projections provided in your application, as well as the final award amount. As you will see in your assistance agreement, the expected closed loans that you projected in your application was adjusted based on your ultimate award size. Next slide. PG&M number 1. So this is for recipients who received a TA component of their award. Those launching a new small dollar loan program will be required to use 50% of the TA portion of the award by the end of year 1 of the period of performance. For those expanding an existing small dollar loan program, you will be required to expend 75% of the TA portion of the award by the end of year 1. and all TA funds must be expended by the end of the period of performance at the end of year 3. Next slide. All applicants have PG&M number 2. This is the closed loans based on dollar amount of small dollar loans. It was based on projections that the recipients provided in Table 2B of the application. The amounts were then adjusted based on the final award amount versus the requested amount. Please note, when you receive the assistance agreement, the closed loan values are cumulative each year. The amount listed in year 3 will represent the total amount you are required to deploy over the projection period. Next slide. And now just moving on to technical assistance award activities. I know this can be tricky and kind of you want to make sure you're expending the funds correctly. Next slide. So the above list, or this slide lists the eligible categories for use of TA awards. If you have questions about what is an eligible activity, please refer to the NOFA, as well as the Federal Uniform Administrative Requirements and Cost Principles, which I will refer to as UAR. This will be referenced, and these UAR principles will be referenced in your assistance agreement and kind of how to ensure you're spending the funds correctly. Next slide. And like Tanya said, there's a lot of words, a lot of information. This will be, the presentation itself also will be posted on our website. So I'll just kind of talk through them generally. So the first eligible TA activity is compensation. That's employee salaries. Training and education, as well as travel, is eligible to be used to cover the cost of training and travel of employees related to the development and administration of your small dollar loan program. Next slide. The next expense is professional services. You can think about that as consulting, and that will assist in like building the capacity of the program. Equipment is also eligible. This includes software if the per unit cost is greater than $5,000. Next slide. And lastly, we have development services and supplies. Supplies are, as you are, it's essentially under $5,000. And then development services are activities such as financial education and credit counseling provided in conjunction with the small dollar loan program. Again, questions regarding eligibility, values, please familiarize yourself with the UAR requirements. Next slide. I do want to highlight this. Even though a recipient may have included certain TA award activities in their application, those activities may not be authorized activities or eligible TA activities. The recipient is responsible for ensuring activities performed with SDL program assistance are allowable per the terms of the assistance agreement. So, for example, we had a few applicants in their discussion, their plan for TA, noted that they wanted to dedicate a portion of their TA award for fringe benefits. This would not be an authorized TA activity for the SDL program. It's not listed in the NOFA, as well as you'll reference it in the assistance agreement. Next slide. The CDFI fund reserves the right to require the recipient to repay all or a portion of the award if the recipient expends funds for an unallowable activity. So keep that in mind when you're spending these funds. Okay, next slide. All right, next on, we're moving on to kind of important requirements per the NOFA and statute that your SDL program must adhere to. Next slide. So we want to highlight that the SDL program must be used to support a small dollar lending program that meets the requirements as outlined in the NOFA. I'm going to read that. So all the small dollar loans that your program will be making must be made in an amount that does not exceed $2,500, must be repaid in installments, have no prepayment penalty, have payments that are reported to at least one of the consumer reporting agencies, and are underwritten with standards that consider the consumer's ability to repay. And all loans you're reporting on must meet the above criteria. Next slide. Next slide. Oh, sorry, never mind. Move past. By executing the assistance agreement, you're attesting that no loan supported by the SDL program contain any of the above practices or features. So that includes high rate loans, that is either 36% or a rate below 36%, that is the maximum per your state regulatory agency, coerced automated loan repayments, security interest, collateral, unless it is a credit builder loan, so no collateral unless credit builder, and other aggressive debt collection practices and more. Next slide. So the capital in the fund that is deployed for small dollar loans must be the recipient's own funds. They cannot be from other CDFI funds award. So we've provided LLR and TA, but the capital that you're deploying cannot be from a CDFI FA award, CDFI Equitable Recovery Program award, BA Enterprise Award Program, or RRP, Rapid Response, all CDFI fund awards. Next slide. All right, let's talk about next steps. Moving on. So here we are. We announced the award at the end of the fiscal year, September 27th. Early November, we're talking about our recipient webinars. And like Tanya said, very soon you can expect your draft assistance agreement available in AMIS. And then once that's happening, holidays are coming up, things like that, you can confirm, request changes, and as well as submit certificate of good standing for certain participants, recipients. I'll talk about that more in a minute. And then once it is, you will then execute it, and once it's executed, CDFI fund will countersign, and within 2 weeks, about 2 weeks of the CDFI fund counter executing, you'll receive your payment, first payment. Next slide. So we've got a few questions about this. You will receive an email notification. We'll send it to all the authorized representatives and point of contact once the assistance agreement is in your AMIS account. Well, it'll also include a couple of attachments for how to access and sign the assistance agreement and how to submit the certificate of good standing. Next slide. So the certificate of good standing must be submitted by the loan funds when signing their assistance agreement, and it should be dated within 180 days of the date the authorized representative executes the assistance agreement. Regulated institutions are not required, so banks are not required to upload this certificate of good standing. Next slide. If you review the assistance agreement and would like to be considered for modification, please submit a service request. The email that you'll receive when you're notified of your assistance agreement walks you through how to submit a request for modification. The CDFI fund will approve modifications on a limited basis at its own discretion. Next slide. So upon execution of your assistance agreement, you will receive your initial payment. For many of you, that's going to be the entirety of your award. The payment amount is listed on the first page of the assistance agreement. The LLR components, or if you're an LLR-only recipient, will be fully dispersed, and the TA award disbursement amount will be based on what the recipient listed in the application. So for recipients receiving TA award components, the initial TA award payment should be the amount of the TA award that you will expend on eligible TA activities during the first 12 months after disbursement or after payment. If you need to change the initial payment amount, please submit a service request via email. Next slide. We've thrown a lot at you. Many different ways to get in touch with us, email. Definitely, we encourage you to submit a service request via AMIS using the drop-down BEA SDLP if you have questions about anything related to this process. And with that, next slide, we will open the line for questions. So operator, would you open the line for questions? And thank you so much.
Yes, if you'd like to ask a question, please press *1, unmute and record your name. Your name is required to introduce the question. Again, that is *1, and it'll be a moment before the questions come in. Again, that is star 1 if you have a question.
Let's see if there's anything in the Q&A.
We do have one question coming in. One moment. Our first question comes from Holly Logue. Your line is open.
Hi, good afternoon, Tanya. The template for the award agreement says that if the recipient is a depository institution holding company that deploys everything through its subsidiary bank, that both the subsidiary and the holding company should file PPRs and use of award. I'm just clarifying because that's different from FA. In FA, the holding company submits the PPR and the use of award, and the subsidiary only submits the TLR.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, Holly. Good to hear from you. So I am actually going to defer to the compliance team. I think you're right about that for this program. It would be the the recipient of the award that's required to submit the reporting. So, Bridget?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, Tanya, you're correct.
Okay.
So, well, the template says that the subsidiary must also file performance progress report. That was my concern, and use of award.
So we may need to take a
3.
look at the template because that doesn't sound like it's correct.
Well, that was my question. That's why. So it's on page 3.
Okay. Yeah. Let us review that template,
Okay.
and then we'll follow up with everyone, so everyone knows what's going on, what the requirements are.
Thank you.
You said page 3.
Page 3, Tanya.
Okay.
On the PPR and use of award in the how and where to submit section, both say that both the holding company and the subsidiary must submit, and that's different from other award agreements.
Got it. Okay, we'll look into that. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like to ask a question over audio, please press star 1. Thank you.
It looks like we've gotten a couple of questions in the Q&A. One question is about expending recipients who have an existing small dollar loan program will be required to expend 75% of their TA award in year 1. Please, the person who put this in the Q&A, if I don't answer your question, please chime in. So yeah, so as part of the program design, we wanted to make sure that the awards are expended quickly, and so for those recipients who have existing small dollar loan programs, who have experience making small dollar loans, we feel should be able to expend the majority of, if not all of their TA award by the first year of the period of performance. And then those recipients who are new to small dollar lending should be able to expend 50% of their TA award by year 1 of their first year of the period of performance. So it's a program parameter or policy that we established when we designed the program. So again, if you ask this question in the Q&A and you need more information, please chime in now, and we would love to have continue this discussion. I'm going to go into another question we received, and it's about the bar. One of the requirements of receiving our award is to make sure that you are considering a borrower's ability to repay that loan, that small dollar loan. And so you want to look at their incomes as you would for any type of loan. You're going to look at their income, their expenses. You're going to look at their debt coverage ratio and whatever your specific underwriting policies are to make sure that the recipient is able to take on additional debt and then can also repay that debt. So, again, if you ask that question in the Q&A and you want to have a further discussion about that, please chime in, and we can do that now.
As a reminder, it is star one if you'd like to ask a question over the audio. Again, that is star one. I do not see any questions on audio right now.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all again for participating in today's webinar. And also thank you for your interest in the Small Dollar Loan Program. And again, congratulations on being selected for receiving an award. Within the upcoming days to weeks, you will receive communication on how you can access your assistance agreement. Please read that in detail. Make sure you understand what the requirements are for receiving such an award, your reporting obligations, et cetera. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We are here to help you and to support you. So I had in my notes to follow up on the language regarding who is required to submit the PPR and the uses of award report per Holly Logue's question. So we will look into that and follow up with the response. So if no one else has any questions, again, thank you. This webinar is being recorded. It will be posted to the website as well as the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation. And again, please reach out to us if you have any questions. Otherwise, please enjoy the rest of your day, and we will look forward to chatting with you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
That concludes today's call. All participants may disconnect at this time. Thank you for joining.